Hey, what's up? It's your man, Greg Merriweather. Welcome to the Unmitigated Truth. It is Tuesday. It's Tuesday. I'm excited about today. Yesterday, man, I had the most interesting day. I'll talk about it. I'm gonna briefly talk about it, but I'm gonna say this really quickly, and then we're gonna move on. It is probably in our best interest to always speak to everybody. To always. We live in a time where people take a lot of people's opinions and they believe a lot of things about a lot of people, and they never talk to the person. They believe who they're affiliated with, but you never know what the relationship consists of. And I would just urge people, in today's time and age, to start talking to people. Yesterday, I had the craziest encounter because I spent time with somebody that I more than likely would never spend time with. And I took a road trip yesterday, and I took a road trip with none other than Micah Beckwith. And I was with Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith, his driver. I rode with him, his driver, his deputy, and then his director of communications. And I'll say this, man, it is good, and it's good to at least have the conversations to see what people are doing, know the people, as opposed to formulating something just based on what someone else is saying about those people. Because when it's all said and done, people do that to me, which is okay. But I'm just saying that I had an interesting time. Actually, I had a great time communicating and just having a conversation with someone that most people are like, don't talk to. And it was, from the time I rode with him, it was a 2-hour trip and then 2 hours back. And then, in between whatever. So I probably spent, it was a crazy amount of hours with the man. But I will say this, it was thrilling. I had a great time. I learned a lot. And so with that being said, I just wanted to put that out there because I thought it was just necessary to talk about it for some unknown reason. But anyway, today, man, we're going to talk to the Pike Township Trustee. We're going to find out what it is that a trustee does, all that kind of stuff. This should be an exciting show. I'll introduce my guest when we get back. So just sit back, relax. Let's get ready. It's the Unmitigated Truth. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Unmitigated Truth, the most unapologetic conversation in the Midwest. I'm your host, Greg Merriweather, and today we are talking about a position that directly impacts people's daily lives, but doesn't always get the attention it deserves. We're talking about the Pike Township Trustee's office. Today's guest is the current incumbent, Annette Johnson, who is seeking to continue serving the community. She is facing two challengers in this race, Claudette Peterson and Melody Barber-Hence. So today we're going to break this all the way down. What does a township trustee actually do? What issues matter most in Pike Township, and why should voters choose Annette Johnson? No fluff, no dodging, just truth. Let's get it in. Welcome to the show.
Hi there. Hi, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Everything is great.
Yeah. You sound like everything's all right. We talked earlier, I know Annette is always running around, y'all. She always keeping it busy, and we laugh a lot because she's gonna say what needs to be said. we share that sentiment. So I'm happy to have you on. This is gonna be fun. So I just want to just welcome you to the team, and all the people who are listening. So before we get into policy and politics, introduce yourself to the people of Pike Township, and who are you beyond your title?
Well, again, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. Again, my name is Trustee Annette Johnson. I reside in Pike Township. I have been an educator for 20 plus years, longer than that. And so I tell everyone I have the best of both worlds. I get to dibble in the political arena as an elected official, and then I also get to continue as an educator as well. I'm currently an adjunct professor at Ivy Tech, And I also was adjunct professor at Martin University before its closing. And I was in IPS for 17 years in Annapolis Public School Systems, teaching over at Crispus Attucks, as well as Arsenal Tech High School.
Awesome, awesome. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. So let's start here. Because a lot of people don't fully understand this role. What does a township trustee actually do on a day-to-day basis?
What a fantastic question. And that's something I get that question all the time when I'm out in the community at events and forums and workshops. And I always share with them that the duties of a trustee is to provide emergency assistance. That is my job, provide emergency assistance to individuals that may have a need in the area of rental payments, mortgages, food vouchers, utilities. It's a huge area that we give out monies to for individuals. Again, my sole responsibility, again, as a trustee, is to provide emergency assistance to the residents in Pike Township. And I'm also able to do that in the form of a fire department as well. There are 9 townships that make up Marion County, the city of, Indianapolis. So 9 trustees, and I'm one of 9. Warren, Wayne, Washington, Decatur, Franklin, Perry, all have a trustee. So there's 9 of us. And again, our jobs are to provide that type of emergency assistance to those residents where we reside in. And again, I'm a little different because I have a fire department. So of the 9 townships, there are still 3 that have a fire department, and that's Pike, Wayne Township, and Decatur Township.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Well, we summed that up. What services so you said what your office provides. So who qualifies for assistance?
Again, it would be residents that reside in Pike Township. We have certain guidelines and that we follow that are given through the state. We follow guidelines, rules, procedures. I mean, of course, I'm a boss, but I have a boss over me as well. And so I get my directives from the State Board of Accounts, which is government, as well as Department of Local Government Finance. And so they are my checks and balances for the daily operations. And so, again, we have guidelines that we follow, and individuals that are within those guidelines would qualify for emergency assistance.
Okay. So what's the biggest misconception about your job?
I think the biggest misconception is that we can just give out whatever we want and not have any. No, we cannot. Individuals feel like you come, you get what you need, but we do have guidelines, and those guidelines are pretty strict, I would say. It protects the residents in Pike Township, because the residents in Pike Township are the ones that foot the bill. A lot of this poor relief money, what we call, comes from the tax base and the taxpayers in Pike Township. So we want to be good stewards of the monies that we receive in that manner. And so I'm always letting everyone know, we just can't give it to you. There's an application process. A lot of people don't think there's an application process that they have to follow. And so they just think they can come up, say, I got an emergency, I got a situation, and I need this. But I try to share with them that we're just extra layer of government for helpmates in our townships. I think, when this was put together, drafted many, many, many years ago, even before I thought about this, there was just a layer of government that wanted to be closest to the people. And that's where the trustees came in. And so again, we have to identify emergency assistance, not just because you did something with your paycheck. It has to be an emergency. And it could be various types of emergencies. I've seen emergencies from an individual that may be battling a serious health issue and they're off work. Of course, we want to help them out. Someone that was laid off. Of course, we want to help them out. Someone whose hours were cut. We help those individuals out. And so again, it has to be something that is really deemed an emergency. You could have had a house fire, domestic violence. A lot of times people don't even know that I help women in that area. They need to move. They need to get out of the current situation that they're in. So something that's deemed an emergency is when the trustee can step in.
Understood. So it's not just a free for all, which we're making that quite clear.
Right.
Quite clear. Yes. So don't go out here blowing all your money.
Exactly.
And thinking that you're going to go talk to the trustee, you're going to get turned down. Okay, we got that.
I get that a lot.
So how much power does a trustee really have?
The trustee has a lot of power, and I think that people look at it from that way. I am the overseer. I am the executor of the township. I am the highest ranking elected official for the township. So I'm like a mini mayor. Just imagine if we were Speedway or if we were Lawrence Township, you would probably have someone in that capacity. That's what they call us, mini mayors. And they call us that because, again, you're the one who is executing or distributing, funds for individuals in need. We had a lot of layers that were under the trustee's office, but some of those things have they're non-existent now. We had the assessor's office that was housed at the government center. Again, I have a large government center here. We have small claims court that is housed here. And again, I have a fire department. And so as the trustee, I appoint the fire chief. No one else does that.
Oh, wow.
It's me. I have that particular honor. And so again, the chief works under me as well. Of course, I'm not a firefighter. I didn't go to school to be a firefighter. I went to school to be an educator. And so that's why it's important that you find an individual that has worked his way through the ranks of firefighting or in the fire department. And I do have that in the chief that I have appointed. I'm going on my 8th year as the trustee. So it's a 4-year term. So I'm on my second 4-year term. And in the time that I have been the trustee, I have appointed 2 fire chiefs. So 2 fire chiefs.
Now you have deputies. Do you have deputies under you, deputy trustees?
I do not. You can, as a trustee, have a deputy under you. I have had that in the past, but people come and go and have other careers that they like to be involved in. When I first started, the first 4 years as a trustee, it was new for me. I had beat a 16-year incumbent. Someone had been in that office for 16 years. So it was a lot. And so I felt that it was very beneficial for me to have a deputy trustee. And so I did have one my first term. That individual has left for bigger employment opportunities. And so at this particular moment, I do not have a deputy trustee. But a lot of trustees do not have one, depending on their staff and what staff members they have. It may be needed, it may not be needed.
Sure. So when we think about it, I mean, Pike, I've lived in Pike up until now. I lived in Pike for a long time. Pike has a very different kind of economic system. It's very, very wide. You've got millionaires and you've got people who are literally struggling. What does that look like from the trustee's perspective when you're trying to look at resources and funds and you're saying, okay, if somebody in poverty falls on hard luck, it seems like a smaller bill in a sense. But if somebody who has, accumulated some dollars falls on hard times, how do you distinguish, all right, is this feasible for the township to kind of give this kind of money to someone who has been of means as opposed to someone who hasn't?
Well, another great question. Again, I really make sure that, the trainings that I have been, able to be a part of, I am on the board of the Indiana Township Association. So I'm able to get a lot of extra assistance there with individuals that have been trustees for 20 plus years. And so, I attend classes and trainings and things like that help me to make sure that, when those type of needs come, again, we're going to help everyone who, if you qualify, you qualify. It doesn't matter. I mean, I have individuals that I am paying mortgage payments, but again, they qualify. And so sometimes people say, wow, mortgage payment, well, that means they have their own house and things like that. Well, I don't discriminate if you have a house or if you have, an apartment. Again, it really goes by your income and what that particular emergency is. And that's how I kind of,
Yeah. But it definitely seems like a hard juggle, especially when you look and it's a lot of responsibility when you look at this and you say, hey, if all these resources are being put into this and it's, and then you got just this, it's almost like you have a different dynamic, because you could get in places like Washington Township that are a little different. The baseline is different from the top line. It's still different, but it's not as wide as a Pike Township. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, the trustee's office is centered right off of 56 and Lafayette Road, and I like that. And I have different things I want to do, hopefully with the next term. I would like for the trustee's office to be closer to the area where there is a lower poverty level in Pike Township. Because if you go past, 79th, that is a whole different ball game up there.
Absolutely.
But I want where I am now, I'm at 56 and I'm like right at the poverty level.
Yeah.
But I would like to go be a little more inner area of it.
Yeah, a little more south, a little more south of where you are.
That's to me, that would be the ideal location for the trustee's office to be there, because where I'm located now, it's not a bus line. Individuals can't get to me like I want them to get to me. The bus line stops right off of 3800, 5600, and 4700 and Pike Plaza. In Georgetown to the Walmart. And then if someone gets dropped off there, it's a nice long walk for them to get to the trustee's office.
Agreed.
So I would like to be in that area.
Agreed. John Schmidt says hello. And then you've got Karen Brooks Terrell says, I have lived in Pike Township for over 50 years. Thank you, Annette Johnson, for your dedication and hard work.
She's a great woman.
Shout out to John Teeter, my brother down in Texas, who was watching.
Thank you.
So let's keep it moving. So we talked about services, we talked about misconceptions, talk about your power. Let's talk about some other stuff. Let's talk about the real issues people are dealing with, okay? What are the biggest challenges facing Pike Township right now?
I would have to say unemployment. Unemployment levels. A lot of my the clients and residents that come in here are looking for a job that's feasible, so they can pay their rent. And so I would say the employment area is something that I see an area of Pike Township.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but it's interesting that you have a position that is divvying out resources, and you're talking about housing and things of that nature. And one of the strange things that you have to deal with that many don't have to deal with is the fact that you're talking about a livable wage, and you're talking about increases in rent, increases in energy, increases in mortgage, increases in food. And then you say, but there's not been any increase in the dollar or in people making money. How hard is that for you?
It's very hard, because I'm trying to figure out what we can do to help those individuals get a better job, better employment, better wages. That's what they need, is the better wages. And state is very low in wages. That was one of my campaign things that I had put. I really want to make sure, even with my employees, had a livable wage. And so I was able to make sure that they're at a level of employment wages that is feasible to livable wages. And so I made sure, because when I came in, the employees, I'm talking about over on the small claims court side and on the trustee side, was making the bare minimum. And I did not understand that. Now, of course, I have a fire department. It's a different type of a wage, because those individuals have unions. Unions lobby for better wages, better resources and benefits. And so it's a little different. So I wanted to be that trustee that came in and say, we all matter. I don't care if it's small claims court, the trustee side, we all matter. And so I've been able to do that as well.
I couldn't imagine, because that's probably when I look at what you have to do, and any trustee for the most part has to do, it is fight that battle. It's the battle of inequality and equities,
Yes.
all those things that you're looking at, and you're having to say, man, demographically, when I ask you this, demographically, who are the majorities, who are coming into your office? Are they Black and brown people, Caucasian people? Who do you see more of?
Of course, Black and brown, very diverse population of individuals here in Pike Township. And then a lot of our employees that work for the trustee side and on the court side, they live right here in Pike Township. Yeah. So think about that their bills and their apartments and the rentals is high. And I can't imagine them being 1 or 2 paychecks away from asking their employer for help. And so that's why I really wanted to work on that. But a lot of, brown. Definitely. Diverse individuals.
Yeah. So are we seeing increases in housing instability? Are more people losing rent or losing their apartments, losing their homes?
They are. It is, to me, it's 50-50. A lot of times it's financial literacy. I think these individuals need to be have some educational opportunities, workshops, or classes that they can go to where they can understand a little bit about financial literacy. It's mostly a younger population of individuals. Young individuals are very, I would say, they would like to be, I can take care of myself, but they're really not ready. I had a young lady yesterday, 20 years old, facing eviction already. And me and the judge really had to sit down and talk with that individual because we try to do stuff on a personal level. A lot of people say, Trustee Johnson, you're there at that office all the time. You don't have to be at this office. You could be out doing other things. But I mean, that was just talking to the young lady yesterday, 20 years old, facing eviction. That's going to be on her record. Yeah. And we're trying to figure out how do we help her so that does not happen. So we see those type of individuals that come in. They're young. They're still trying to figure it out. Yeah, sure. So what about food insecurity? I know you once had the marsh on Georgetown, right? And that's no longer there. You've got what do you have? We have Kroger's.
You have
Myers, yes, we do. And then we have a mini Myers, Walmart off of 5500 Kessler. So we have that as well. We lost a Save-A-Lot that was at 71st in Michigan, and that was a big helpmate. So we don't have the Save-A-Lot and we don't have the Marsh, but we do have Georgetown Market. We do have 2 Walmarts that are in Pike Township because we have the one on 86 in Michigan as well.
Yeah, and then you lost the Marsh that used to be on 86th Street.
Yes, right over in the Traders Point area.
Traders Point area.
Yes.
So
we have nothing there. We have nothing there.
That's crazy, and that's a pretty affluent area.
Yes, it is.
And they don't have a grocery store.
No, they go to Trader Joe's, which is pretty far down because that's an 86 Township Line Road. Yeah. And so they kind of frequent there. But we're making it work with the Myers and the Walmarts that are still there. Still there. Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah, we just pray that we can, because centrally you've got that Meyer is like a flagship for that community because it's been there a long time. But we'll pray that they can hold on to it. So mental health, how big of an issue is that in your township?
Well, again, as the trustee in Pike Township, again, we have a fantastic fire department. It's rated #1 in the state. And so I have 92 counties. And underneath the fire chief, we have I would say I have 8 other chiefs. We have different chiefs for different areas. It's just not the fire chief. Of course, he's the overseer of all, but we have chief of operations, chief of finance, and that's why I'm able to really run this department in a really financial, good area, because I also have a chief that's all he does is make sure our finances. We have a chief of, the 5 fire stations and things like that. And so that's such a great question that you asked about the mental health, because Pike Township it's very innovative.
Yeah.
Again, I serve on the Indiana Township Association board. And this past fall, me and the fire chief and one of our paramedic nurses, we presented at that workshop and conference in an innovative manner. We launched a mobile integrated health community resource paramedic person for Pike Township. So we're on the map.
Nice.
And that particular individual was brought forth to do exactly what you just asked me about, mental health. Think about your firefighters. They didn't go to school for the mental health area. I mean, of course, they have to deal. They went to school to be firefighters, put out fires. Our firefighters are EMS, paramedics to deal with medical issues, car accidents. We are surrounded in Pike Township with so many senior living homes and senior citizen homes and healthcare facilities. And so the firefighters have so much. And so I would say for the last 5 years, we were starting to see a surge in mental health runs. So the firefighters will be going to these runs. Think about it. How would they know what to do?
Right.
And so we thought it would be really to our advantage to hire someone in that area. And so we were able to hire a young lady that had been a paramedic nurse for the fire department for 24 years, kind of dwindling down in her career, but not yet ready to retire. Has all of her degrees and stuff in mental health, nursing. And so we picked that individual to deal with our community paramedic services in the areas of mental health. So the firefighters will go on a run and they would, they call her and say, well, this is a little different. You know, we got a 911 call to come, but this is not putting out a fire and this is not a medical issue. And so that's where she comes into play. And then she steps in and deals with that individual and see what we can help them with. And how do we get the resources that they need?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So that was launched in January of last year. So we just finished a full year of it. And so we are excited that we have someone in the area of mental health. They also work alongside IMPD mental health team as well. So it's a hand in hand, because think about it. If the police officers don't get the calls, the fire department does. And if it's a mental health issue, or it could just be an individual that resides at home and they call the fire department to help them off the floor, or to help them with their medication. And they're like, okay, what do we do here? That's where she comes into play, and she helps with all of that. So I'm very excited about that particular individual and the things that we're doing in Pike Township to kind of, curve that and be there as much as we can. And then we're learning along the way too, as well.
Sure. But that's a good resource to have. So I'm glad to hear that you all are ahead of the curve. Are you the only one who has that you know of?
Well, here in Marion County now, there are surrounding counties, a few that are starting to implement that. And that is why we presented at the conference, because you have to think about it. Where does the money come from?
Sure.
We're asking the taxpayers to fund another employee. The good thing is she's already a firefighter. Slash paramedic nurse. And so we thought that wouldn't be an issue, but to offset her salary, we have applied for grants, federal dollars, and those grant monies help with her salary as well. And so we're good for some years, to be able to fund her. So I'm excited about that. You got to always be innovative, think outside the box. How we going to, again, as a trustee, I want to be a good steward of the tax base and the monies that I receive. And I don't want individuals to think I'm just, putting people in positions just to be putting them in there.
No,
we are funding it. And that question did come from our board members, and I was able to give them a great answer,
Good. I like that. So what's gotten worse over the last few years?
You mean in the township?
In the township.
I would say, losing some of the, the food desert, losing grocery stores, losing the makeup of Lafayette Square Mall. It did house a lot of small businesses, and owners had businesses in there. There was another area where people could shop and get things. Now, we have to kind of go further as far as ways we can to get clothing items and things of that nature that we need. So I would say the decrease of Lafayette Square Mall not really being a functioning piece in Pike Township has really caused, some hardship and challenges.
I realized, that so much has changed in Pike. Like a lot has changed in Pike. Yeah, I mean, I remember how thriving Pike Plaza used to be.
Yes.
You had Applebee's, you had the Claude and Annie's down in the corner.
Now all those are gone.
All those stores, all that stuff is gone from over there. You had the Discount Tire was there. You had another tire shop that was there. I mean, it's
car dealerships. I mean, we have buy here, pay here's, but I'm talking about the major car dealerships have all just about left.
Yeah, because the one is a liquor store now.
Yes, I know it's sitting over there. Yes,
absolutely. So a lot has changed over the years, and I mean, what do you think it's due to? What do you think is happening?
I just think there's a lot to do with online shopping and most of our social media, and that has all kind of come into play, and people are just not out shopping, and things like that have really put a dent. But you're right, we lost at Applebee's, and we don't really even have any, I would say, fine dining type of restaurants in Pike Township. You go up to Traders, Point area and 86 in Michigan. But as far in that inner city, like you said, now we do have a lot of ethnic restaurants. That is very you could see that everywhere in off of 30 Lafayette Road. They have came in and been able to take in that area that we need. I mean, we do have the Alamo movie theater. I mean, we do have Georgetown Market, which is a really nice market where, healthy foods and things like that. So we got a couple of things that are still there, but then we've lost, like you said, a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about performance and accountability. You're the incumbent, so this matters. My question is, what have you accomplished during your time as the trustee?
Oh my God, so much. I mean,
give me the short version.
I brought diversity to the fire department. Again, look at me, I'm African American, and I was pretty adamant that I want the fire department to look and like the community. I've been able to bring up the numbers in the area of diversity as far as, brown color men and women. I have been able to hire the first African-American female firefighter, which is just fantastic. She's doing a great job. She's a trailblazer. She is out in the schools doing, educational components, and just to see the little girls' faces like, I could be a firefighter too, is amazing. We have been able to really upgrade our fire training facilities off of 71st in Georgetown. We have so much going on where we have a recruit school going on right now. So I've been a trustee going on year 8. I've had a recruit class every year. Nice. I've had a recruit class. When I did come into this office, that was one of the things that we got dinged on down at the state, is because there was a lot of talk about consolidation. When I became the trustee, that was the biggest thing on everyone's minds. And when I had my meetings downtown, they pretty much laid it out. They said, well, trustee, you have such a small amount of men and women. So how can you be a fire department? You might as well just go on and merge with someone else. So I've been able to bring those numbers up. For 8 years, we have hired individual men and women and paramedics, all that. So we are just soaring with the numbers now in Pike. I'm very, very proud of our decontamination building. We are only one that have a decontamination building, and we are at the forefront on the national level. We have fire departments from all over the country and state to come to 71st in Georgetown to take a tour. Yeah. Individuals that are coming from out of town and spending 2 or 3 days to see what is this big thing about this decontamination building. And that was one of our things that we talked about 4 years ago, just putting something together where our men and women to cut down the numbers in the areas of cancer. And so the decontamination building is a facility where once the men and women are done with a fire, something like that, they go back to the decontamination building, they strip, they shower, and they put on a whole clean gear so that they do not have all those decontamination pieces and things on them. So I'm proud of that. We have a training facility for exercise, health, and fitness also on the grounds at 71st and Georgetown. And so we just want to make health and fitness at the forefront. If our firefighters are healthy and they're fit, guess how much money I save in the area of insurance and medical expenses. I'm saving the township a lot in that area. And then we can use that monies to do and build and hopefully build other fire stations in Pike Township and expand on that as well. So it's been a lot. Again, I mean, the food pantry, there's on-site food pantry. We didn't have that. Mommy baby room for expectant mothers. I had that on the grounds. I have the recycling bins. I mean, I'm really into the environment. So you know how I feel about the environment. So recycling bins, not just one, but 2 large recycling bins on the trustees parking lot area. So,
nice.
I mean, the list could go on and on. Seriously.
So what are you most proud of?
Oh my goodness. I'm just proud of the fire department, all the good things. Because we are again rated #1, and with that puts the trustee out there. I think what I am proud of, winning that 2022 Trustee of the Year out of 1,006 trustees. My peers voted me. 1,006 trustees across the state.
Wow.
And my first 4 years, the Indiana Township Association, they saw like this trustee, she came in 4 years, turned this around, put this together, implemented this. And so 2022, I did represent our state as Trustee of the Year.
Like it. Okay.
Who would have thought that would have happened? Wow.
Where do you feel you could have done better?
Where can I do better?
Always room for improvement.
There is always room for improvement. I think I want to do better in the area of working with the homeless population. And we don't have a big homeless population in Pike Township. I mean, you can drive down the street, you'll see one person on this corner, one. And I mean, one is too many, but I'm just saying we don't have an influx of homeless people. But not yet. And so I would like to see how we can do a better job of getting resources to them, having another area within the trustee's office where we provide that assistance. Right now, and I know there was drafted legislation at the State House to help with homeless, because I would need a whole nother budget line. Because by the time you house somebody for 25 days at a hotel, you wipe the budget out. And so that's an area that I see a need for improvement. And so I'm trying to figure out how I can do better in that area. As of right today, there was a meeting, an open house. A young lady will be housing homeless people. And I think she said we have 2 houses in Pike Township that will be utilized. And so when you think about a house, it's like a house with 4 bedrooms. So that's only 4. So that's just 4. But I want to see how I can come alongside that individual and kind of help and provide some resources for them. So my homeless area is where I would like to step up a little.
I like it. Okay. If someone says nothing has changed under your leadership, what is your response?
I would say you can see the difference. Again, we have a website. We never even had a website. So I do have a website that shows all the things that we're doing. It has information regarding our board meetings. The documents are there. So people can go in and look at all this stuff. I'm very transparent. So when they accuse me of this and accuse me of that, I'm like, all you have to do is go on a website. We list all the documents. We list the meeting minutes. We have audio now. So you get to actually hear what's taking place and see. And so just working alongside the fire department, they are a wonderful group of men and women. I respect them so much. And then they say, well, no, trustee, we respect you so much that I just received the endorsement of the Pike Township Fire Local 416 Union endorsement. So that's huge. And I'll be putting more information out for people to see that. So I'm excited that the firefighters have actually endorsed. It's the first time. Think about it, it's my third term.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't able to get the endorsement last time doing it for the primary, but they see the things that we're doing and working alongside one another has really been great.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, let's get to the grid. We got about a little under 20 minutes.
Okay.
Let's get to the race and opposition. You're not running unopposed. Okay.
No.
So my first question is, what separates you from Claudette Peterson?
I would say what separates me from her is I'm actually doing the work. I'm doing the work 365 days out of the year. I was groomed for this. I was born to do this. My grandmother and my mother were very involved in the community, and I have been an opponent, I would say an advocate to serve this community. I am able to build relationships, work alongside with businesses. I have the trust of the fire department as well. And so I think that's what separates me from her, or from that particular individual, because again, I'm actually doing the work every day. And so far, individuals have trusted me with this position for 8 years, and they have seen the good things that we're doing out in the community.
Okay. So what separates you from Barber-Hence?
Well, that's pretty easy because that particular individual, again, from my observation, has no experience with the trustee's office, and has never even been to a board meeting to even understand what does the trustee does, what does the board members do. I mean, I think someone that would be wanting to run for an office as this would be involved and engaged in the community, would come to meetings and understand. But for someone to not have ever set foot in any of these meetings raises a red flag for me. Sure. Again, I'm able to have 2 careers. I'm an educator. So an educator educates people. And the educator is an individual that's out there talking and teaching and also learning as well, and instilling different things and principles into people. So being an educator too helps, because I'm actually there to teach and to learn at the same time.
Sure. So why should voters choose you over them?
They should choose me because we want to keep moving forward, keep the good things that is going on in Pike Township. I'm a trustee that has hopefully made my residents proud, again, with our fire department being one of the tops in the state. I mean, who would not want that? Again, being a trustee, voted by 1,005 peers as the best trustee. And I don't just talk about it, I participate. Again, I was able to, again, present at a conference. As a trustee, I don't have to do that. I sit back and should be watching, but I'm not that type of trustee and that person. I want to be right there teaching, expanding, and sharing with individuals. Hopefully they're proud. I was voted elected official of the year for 2025. I forgot to mention that. Okay. And that came from the fire association. So the firefighters from across the state recognized me as an elected official who really advocates for the fire department, the firefighters, and the base of her township. And so I forgot about that too. So I would think I have made the residents proud. Like I said, implementing a website so that they could see the day-to-day options and things that we do and the components. A trustee that's engaged in her community, I always tag that with food giveaways, community giveaways, essential giveaways, workshops, festivals, you name it. This trustee has done it.
Sure. What experience do you bring that they don't?
I think being involved in politics for many, many years prior to this. Okay. I served on the township board for 14 years. None of them can say that. So I sat on the board to learn and understand what it takes to be 14 years is a long time to be on the township board.
Sure.
And so I sat in a role before I became the trustee where I was under the jurisdiction of a trustee. So I sat on the board for 14 years to learn the ins and outs of the fire department, the ins and outs of the trustee and the small claims court area. So
now, one would challenge. Now, Claudette would challenge that, right?
Well, she only has 8 years. I have 14. Okay. So I still, and she is living part of the dream from me. She inherited my seat. Gotcha. And so, yes, she has 8 years going on 8, but I have 14.
Okay.
And I say this at my board meeting is a lot. Yeah. You guys are not going to be able to tell me too much. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my home, but I sat in a position for 14 years and learned the ins and outs of the township government.
Sure. So what's at stake if leadership changes?
I think what will be at stake is you will see fire department that will be dismantled, because I see it happening already with a couple of those board members dismantling my fire department. And not just my fire department. I say mine because I live in this township. I live here. I work. I live. Dismantling. I have fought hard to make sure that this particular fire department stays within Pike Township because it's one of the best. And think about it. People want the best. Yeah. And so I think it would be dismantled because of their views and the different types of, I would say, how their outlook of a fire department is different than mine. And again, I can say that freely because I see the dismantling of things already that I have had to deal with the last year.
Okay, I'm with that. So my last question as far as opposition is why do you believe you're the best person right now?
Right now, because I'm in the position and I've been doing it for 8 years, and I have put this fire department at the top of the list as a trustee that has been supported and as a trustee that has done this hard work. Like I said, the conference, when I told the chief, I'm like, we're going to present. He was like, oh my goodness, we got to present. I said, we're the best, and they're expecting the best to lead and to continue to keep leading. And so I don't just talk it. I do the work, the hard work. I put together the PowerPoint presentations and things like that, so I can present. And I'm very confident that our fire department is it's the best. And so I have no problem with making sure that I'm that trustee that's out there on that line, out there on the the firing lines, saying this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it.
Okay, thank you. So one of the biggest concerns people always have with politicians is trust. One of my questions is, how do you handle criticism?
By being transparent and showing them what you need and saying, making sure I have the documentation to back it up. Very transparent. You see me. I'm not an elected official that hides in the office. I don't hide at home. I attend workshops, community meetings, HOA meetings, everything I can be at. I'm right there. Last night I was over at the Pike Library for the residents to come and talk to me and share their concerns. And so, I'm that trustee that's out there in the community doing the work and making sure that I don't hide. If there's questions or concerns, I don't just bring me. We did a town hall forum last week. I brought the staff. So in case, because think about it, sometimes people say, well, of course the trustee's going to say that. Of course she's going to say that. I'm like, well, I will bring my staff because they're the ones that actually do a lot of the heavy lifting as well. Talk to them. They have, their own minds and brain cells. And so I don't just bring myself to meetings. I make sure I bring my staff members so individuals can talk with them as well. Okay.
Have there been complaints about your office, and how did you address them?
There are always some type of complaints out there. The good thing is when, I became the trustee, I have been able to pass my audits with flying colors. Again, I don't think I would be trustee of the year if something was going on, because they investigate you and they look up stuff and they make sure everything's, because that would put shame on the Indiana Township Association. It's a huge organization. I make sure that, again, I get my directives from State Board of Accounts and the Department of Government Local Finance. And when they say, Trustee Johnson, we have an issue, we will be out at your office, let's handle it. I'm an open book. Again, I have a wonderful team that works with me, my attorney, the accountant. My fire chief is excellent. He has a master's in finance.
Wow.
And so nothing's going to get, that's why I picked him. It's like, I got to have you. Again, I handle those with providing the documents for proof, and that everything is given. And to me, the best relief for you is to make sure you have your documentation and everything in order.
Yeah, I know you recently had an audit that you passed.
Yeah,
so.
March 11th. I still remember the date in my mind, March 11th. And so I will utilize that for my campaign trail. When individuals come up to the polling sites and have some questions, I would freely share. We just had, and this wasn't even an audit. They call this a mini audit because they already did audits for me, and everything comes up perfectly. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be maybe a receipt that may be off a couple of pennies, or someone went somewhere and they forgot to give me the receipt. Well, we make sure we have information to share what happened and why that is there. Nothing is perfect. You know that nobody's perfect. And I don't want anyone on here to think that Annette is perfect. No, we're not. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to the finances, I, beyond a shadow of doubt, make sure that there's no discrepancies there, because I don't want to be on the news at all.
So before we move to rapid fire, which is one answer or short answers only, before we get out of here, the last thing I want to know is, what do people get wrong about you?
What do they get wrong about me? I think they think I'm naive, and they think sometimes I can be pretty stern. But that's because this position, you have to be stern. But I'm a sweet individual. But a lot of people think that is so mean. I mean, I know, but I've had so many stones and rocks and boulders thrown at me that you put this protection up, this wall against you. But once you get to know me, you'll be, and that is, I do anything I can for anyone. And I always give 110. And I think sometimes that is my worst enemy, because I give so much to individuals and I get nothing in return.
I know that.
Nothing. And I felt that's one of the things that's going to change. Well, it's changing now.
Okay. Okay. All right. So this is a segment in the show right before we get to the end that we call rapid fire. And what happens is it's just short answers only. If you can give one word answers, that's fine. We're going to go through these really quickly, and then we're going to get to the final part of the show where we're to your voters. All right. So short answers only. Biggest issue in Pike Township right now?
Homelessness.
One thing you would change immediately?
The board.
One word to describe your leadership style?
Stern.
Okay. Transparency or efficiency? Which matters more?
Efficiency.
Okay. Why do you pick efficiency?
Because if the numbers match up and everything is right, there's no need for the transparency, because the efficiency has came in.
Okay. I like that. That's pretty good. Are township trustees underpaid, overpaid, or fairly paid?
This particular trustee, Annette Johnson, is underpaid.
Okay. Take
tremendously.
That. Okay. What keeps you up at night about this job?
Individuals that I'm not able to help because of guidelines and statutes and things like that. That bothers me.
Okay. Why should someone vote for you in one sentence?
Because I'm doing the job and I have a proven record of good leadership.
Okay. All right. So this is your moment. Speak directly to the voters of Pike Township.
Oh, well, this is great. This has been wonderful. Voters in Pike Township, many of you know me. You've seen me at different events and HOA meetings, just about any type of community event that is happening. The trustee is there. I am seeking re-election for a third term. And that hopefully will come from the voters that I have done a good job. I've proven my record with individuals, the trustee that has been able to work alongside the fire department, the fire personnel, and businesses, other individuals that live in Pike as well. So the good thing is, you know that you have a person that cares about her community, even in the area environmental. Education, again, as an educator, you know, that's always at the forefront. I've been able to build those relationships with MSD of Pike Township schools, be that particular individual that is there, again, to help individuals in need. I want to continue as trustee to provide emergency assistance to our residents in need. I want to make sure that we have the best fire department in the state and city as well. I want to make sure as a trustee that I'm able to be that helpmate for individuals that are seeking, you know, emergency assistance. So if you're looking for the top leadership, top-notch fire department, top-notch trustee's office, personnel, you had that in Trustee Annette Johnson. So I am seeking your vote. Again, thank you so much.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Trustee Annette Johnson, I appreciate you for coming to the show. And I'm going to say this, everybody, you just heard from Pike Township Trustee Annette Johnson, the incumbent in this race. I mean, this is truly what the Unmitigated Truth is about. I'm thankful that you've come on to the show. You know, anytime, you know, this platform is definitely open for you to come and share anytime. And I appreciate you so much. So Annette Johnson signing off. Thank you so much, right, Annette. We'll be in touch.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Woo, right, thank you.
Have a good one. Later.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was Annette Johnson. That was Trustee Annette Johnson, Pike Township. Let me say something, man. This has been the Unmitigated Truth. When it's all said and done, you know, I am bringing people on. I want you all to be the most savvy Black voters in history. I want you to be the most savvy voter, period, in history, because when it's all said and done, we need to make sure that we know who we're voting for, why we're voting. It's one thing. I was, like I said, I was on this trip yesterday, and I said, we have to understand that the voting process is a three-part process. It is to vet the candidate, then vote for the candidate, then hold the candidate accountable. It's all three. It's not just one. And I think that once we start doing this, people will understand that this is a process that we all have to be involved in. This is not something that you just say, oh, just go vote. No, know who you're voting for. And then at the same time, hold that person accountable, because then when you look in your community, if you're not holding them accountable and you look in your community and you're not seeing what's necessary, you are just as much to blame as them. So this is what the Unmitigated Truth is about, giving you direct access to the people who want to lead your community. Now it's on you to do the research, ask questions, most importantly, vote. Because local elections like this, they impact your life more than you think. I'm Greg Merriweather, and this has been the Unmitigated Truth. Please share the video if there's anything you guys want to share. If you want to call, you want to reach out, inbox me, give me some subjects, things of that nature. I'm always open to hearing on some, talk about some subject matter that comes from the community. If you indeed want to help this show grow, Merry Mind Creations is our Cash App link. So if you want to donate so we can help build this show, get more shows, add to the network, Merry Minds is the parent company of the Unmitigated Truth and a host of radio networks. So I thank you all. Please do me a favor, share the video. This is important. It's not just about you. It's about us sharing as well. So I thank you so much. This has been the Unmitigated Truth. I look forward tomorrow, we're going to have Pastor David Green. He's running for Senate. We're going to have him on tomorrow at noon. So that should be another exciting show. So I'll see you all tomorrow at noon. Have a great one. 317 all day. I love y'all. Peace.